And so, hello everyone. It's great to see you for our monthly OpenLineage TSC meeting. Um, just as a reminder, these meetings are recorded and the archives will eventually show up on our wiki page and our YouTube channel. Thanks to Shiri, this is happening over the next few weeks. So as always, we kick off the meeting with a quick roll call of folks on the line. So starting from my screen's top left, Michael Robinson. Care to say hello?
Hi, everybody. I'm a contributor to OpenLineage and Marquez, and I'm here to get caught up on things I haven't been able to attend lately, and it's good to see everybody.
It's good to see you here again, Michael. Pavel.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I'm software engineer and committer of OpenLineage, working for Astronomer and getting data. And I'm here to share some of my recent work related to Spark integration. Thank you.
Good to see you, Pavel. Casper?
Yes, hi everyone, I'm Casper. I'm data engineer working for Getting Data. And I'm here to catch up because I haven't been able to join lately. So yeah, that's it.
Great to see you again. Peter.
Yeah, I'm actually not, I'm invading this space. I'm not on the TSC council here, but some of my work is being demoed today for Marquez, and yeah, I did some of that. So that's me.
Thanks, Peter. And you're not invading. This is a meeting that's open for all, and
Okay.
it's very much an open community. It's great to see you. Willie.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Willie. I'm the co-creator and project lead of Marquez. I'll be demoing pretty much what we've done in the past year. I think focusing on some of the new features. And yeah, that's about it. I'm based in SF, so.
Next up is Gabe.
Hi, I'm Gabe Ochoa. I work at Datadog with Harel, but I'm working on ingesting OpenLineage events into Datadog and making them useful for our customers, as well as we're contributing back some changes, which we've got a couple bugs open too that we're working on at the moment.
Thanks, Gabe. Good to see you on this call again. Next up is Maciej.
Hey, I am a TSC member, and I'm here to listen to Pavel and Willie today. Thanks.
Daniel.
Good afternoon or evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world. Dan Rolls, founder and CEO of Bearing Node, and Peter, second, I'm an interloper here, but this community has been so welcoming every single meeting I've been on. I run a consulting that deploys data and information observability platforms. So I love to listen to the guys who are actually down in the guts of these problem solving. So that's my role here.
It's great to see you again, Dan. And last but not least, Jens.
Yeah, hey Harold, hey everyone. I'm Jens. I'm engineering manager at Google Cloud for Lineage capability and Dataplex and BigQuery. Been around for a while with the community, and we have an OpenLineage endpoint, so we need to understand what's happening and how we move forward.
Great to see you again, Jens. And I'll go last. So my name is Harel. I work at Datadog. And I am here to host this month's TSC meeting and discuss all the things that come up. So without further ado, I'll glance over the communication. So you can find us on the interwebs with the following links. Still on my to-do list is to add a Blue Sky account. The agenda for today. So I'll quickly talk about OpenLineage's presence at reInvent this year, which was pretty fun. Go over the recent release, and then we'll hear a presentation from Willie about what's been happening on Marquez for the past year. And Pavel will update us on the latest and greatest in being able to transform data as part of the transform operator in the OpenLineage client. After that, we'll go into open discussion. So this year we were hosted by AWS as part of their announcement of supporting data zones, data lineage capability. They have followed the footsteps of others in the community and have built their lineage solution around OpenLineage and made their platform compatible with OpenLineage, which is always great and encouraging to see everyone leaning into the spec and then hopefully also contributing to the spec over time. I was there as part of the OpenLineage community to just give a background on OpenLineage to those who are not familiar with it. Yes, some people asked me if OpenLineage is free. So it was definitely a mix of a bunch of people who are not familiar with what the type of work that we do. So it was a great opportunity to talk to that audience. And it was super fun. And that's it. So if you want, you can watch the recording of the thing. And I will move on. So quickly going over the latest release. So we had a bunch of additions. So first addition is add support for column level lineage in the TBT integration. This is a first-time contributor, Mayur Madani. So Madnani, sorry. So thank you for your contribution to the project. Welcome to the contributors list. And check it out if you're using the DBT integration. Now uses a SQL parser to add information about the collected column level lineage. Then on Spark, Pavel, longtime committer, has added support for input and output statistics about data sets being read or written. If you use the Spark integration, go ahead and check this out. As part of that, he also introduced a input statistics input dataset facet to accommodate this data, as well as enable a dataset factory enabling building input and output facets through it, which can be extended further. If anyone has any more questions on that, we can definitely talk about it in the open discussion. And two more fixes, thanks to two new committers, or contributors, I should say. So one contributor, NJA 010. Sorry, I could have pulled the full names and not used GitHub handles, but that's on me. Michael added to the list of things I should get better at. So thank you for fixing the compatibility with DBT version 1.8, and to new contributor Yorix. Thank you for enabling Delta 3.x versions being compatible with OpenLineage. So thank you for all existing committers, contributors, both old and new. And from here, I will hand it off to Willie to give us updates on Marquez. Willie, do you want me to click through slides or?
I have a demo, so it'd be easier to.
Perfect.
If I could share. Okay.
Amazing.
Great. So yeah, I'll kick it off with so for those maybe new on the call or haven't heard about Marquez, just a quick background. Marquez started at WeWork, so I co-created the project with Julian Ledem, who's the project lead on OpenLineage. So we worked on that for about 2 years, incubating the project at WeWork, and then we took the project on and built out a product around it, or in this case, a startup called Datakin, which was based off Marquez, and eventually we made our way to Astronomer. So the OpenLineage standard, if you look at what the standard provides, also what the data model of Marquez is, there's really a intersection between the two, focusing on jobs, data sets, and runs. So Marquez graduated, I believe, last year. I always forget, or if it's earlier this year. So it's a LFAI and data project, and we graduated, and we've seen so much adoption from companies that do AI to workflow orchestration. So it's all over the place, and even companies like Decathlon are using Marquez to provide data observability. within their data platform. So just a quick, what can Marquez do? Some of this is forward thinking, but you think about data observability. What are you looking for? You're looking for schema changes. You're looking for modification or updates to your data set by a run. So you want to be able to provide observability around that. How often your data set gets refreshed. If it doesn't get refreshed, you missed SLAs. There's a lot of observability that we want to build on top of Marquez that's already there. And data monitoring is going to be a key factor in that. So you can start getting alerted through different channels like Slack, PagerDuty, and so forth. And then all of this is really around data reliability. You want to make sure your data lands at a certain time for your reports when they kick off or when you're running your analytics, especially for billing and things like that. So really, Marquez is at the center of all of this. And quick recap here, how do we collect OpenLineage events? It's just through a REST API, so it's all push-based. So if you're using Spark or if you're using dbt, Marquez provides that API v1 lineage endpoint where we accept your run events, but as of recently, the static lineage events for data sets and jobs. So that's all through a REST API. And I put this table together, but we were talking about data observability, so freshness, quality, volume, schema. So the standard or the specification provides all that metadata. Marquez is just an OpenLineage consumer that accepts those events and then allows you to do schema diffing, builds on top of or manages the lineage graph, supports column level lineage, and also as of recently, or something that we're working towards, is more run level lineage versioning and diffing. So being able to look at a point in time of what your lineage graph looked like. So there was a lot that we did in 2024. There was also gaps where obviously people get busy, but we do have a strong community. And the one thing that we did focus on was data observability dashboard, which I'll demo. That Peter, who's on the call, made a huge effort to get that UI out. So it will show you how many sources you've collected, how many data sets you've collected over a window, and also the events that are coming in from OpenLineage. We also built out a search capability, which is in beta, so we haven't made that GA yet, but we want to invest more in search. So being able to search your events, the facets, the schemas within the schema facet for your data set. So there's a lot that we want to begin building around search. Column level lineage was also introduced, the API. We also do have a UI that will display column lineage. Pavel, who's on the call, has been contributing a lot of really great things around streaming job lineage, support for Flink. So it was great working with him to build out. Well, he built it out. I just provided some little guidance and approval on a PR. There's also an investment in tagging. So being able to tag a data set as having PII or sensitive data. Same things for jobs as well, different tagging capabilities there. And I know there's a PR right now for a tag facet, which is amazing. But Marquez does expose a tag API for your data sets and job. And countless bug fixes, which I'm not going to list, but there's also more improvements that we can do on the performance size of the database, because we've seen Marquez run at a really large scale, and that model over time, I think we've learned some of the bottlenecks that we then want to push upstream to the open source community. So really quick, this is the dashboard that we put together and was released, I think a couple releases ago, where you're given the number of events that you've collected. So now what you're able to see is when those lineage events are coming in. So if you get a start event or you get a complete event, you're able to start seeing the trend. In this case, it's a lot of one-to-one. So start and complete. There's no failed or there's no jobs that have been aborted. But you're able to do sort of this automatic refresh. So if you want to do every 30 seconds, 5 minutes, never, I'll just do every 5 minutes, but you could also do an automatic refresh if you'd like. And there's also a different time frame. So you're able to do the past day, but sometimes you want to see you want to see the trends over time. So we do provide a 7-day window. And you can see here, at some point, I seeded the backend, and we went from no sources to 2. Same thing for the data sets. We have 13 data sets that have been collected or ingested by Marquez through the OpenLineage events that are coming in. And then we also register the jobs themselves. You're also able to filter. In this case, if you want to filter by which jobs are running or which jobs have completed. And then we give you a really nice view of all the different jobs that are associated with a complete event or the run events themselves. In this case, I've already seeded the backend. So there's a food delivery example that we like to use, and you're given the past 10 runs. So if you hover over, you'll have how long it took for this job to complete, when the job was registered in Marquez, when it was last updated, the namespace, the run status, and also the type. So a lot of what we do is batch, but we also support streaming. And if you want to view more, there's a see more that allows you to scroll through all the different jobs that have been collected. And of course, the really cool feature of search. So if you want to start searching, we want to build this out and provide a stronger solution on providing a pluggable search backend. So there's some PRs that are in progress that allow you to bring your own search engine, or if you want us to default to one that's just hitting Postgres, you could do that as well, but you get sort of limited features. And if I do click on one of these, you'll be presented with this lineage graph. I tend to like the compact mode, but you could also do a full graph as well. But if you want just a direct path to see this job and what were the dependencies downstream, you can see job, dataset. So all of these are dependent. Eventually, you land on this data set, which is unhealthy, which is crazy. So if you click on the dataset node, you'll see that the data quality, so if you provide a data quality facet, this is also something that we quickly introduced, it will show you that the driver ID is null. So you have a non-null assertion, but in this case, it's failing. And we do offer additional, we display the schema. There's also the version history. So that's a little bit unique to Marquez because we versions the jobs, but also the data sets. You could add PII in this case. So then we were able to tag it. And if you click on one of these, so if we look at which one had an issue, driver ID, you're able to see the column level lineage. We do want to collapse this view, but at the moment we wanted to take the column lineage facet and display it in a graph, and this was the first version that we came out with, but we want to iterate. I think we've gotten feedback on it would be nice if it was just in a single graph from the lineage graph and also the column level lineage graph, and being able to unify that. But you're able to see the driver ID and its impact on driver ID. Well, in this case, the ID table for drivers is used in the delivery 7 days for the driver ID column, and then it's also used in the top delivery item. So if that's null, you don't know who's delivering food, which could be a good or bad thing. And yeah, there's different views as well for jobs, data sets. If you want more of a tabular view, and then you could look at the raw events, which this one here. So you're able to see all the different run events that have come in. I've seeded this with Spark and Iceberg as well. So if you click on that, you're able to see the raw event and also its facets and information about the Spark application as well. Cool. Oops. Go back to here. Okay, so that was a very quick demo. And it took, I put some thought into what we want to do in the future work. For Marquez, I think being able to search for OpenLineage events, whether it's like you're drilling down to the facet or you want to search just generally, if you're collecting data from a specific Spark cluster, we want to provide our end users a way to just do a grep on all the metadata that OpenLineage is providing. We also want to move away from so OpenLineage was prototyped in Marquez before it branched off into its own project and then eventually graduate from the Linux Foundation. So we're still using those very old, although they still work, right? But they're very old in terms of the POC version of OpenLineage. So I've made a lot of effort to start moving our models to use the OpenLineage server package. So that way we're more in step and more in line with OpenLineage. So as new facets come up, we could start referencing them and build different components in the Marquez UI. And again, if you're interested, there's some PRs that have already taken shape to start making this happen. Monitoring and alerting, we do have some general notifications, which I didn't show you, but we do have alerting built in, notifications built in. But we want to start providing different channels. So if you want to configure a Slack channel or configure PagerDuty, this way, all the metadata that's coming in from all your different data processing engines, it's all unified and you can start alerting in a central place. Authentication, that's been an ongoing discussion. I think 2025 is the year that we finally do authentication and provide some sort of login, some sort of profile, or also role-based access to certain metadata if you don't want a certain team to view metadata as well. And then point-in-time lineage, this one, again, a great proposal written by Pavel that talks about how we plan to do sort of go away from the static lineage, which is what you saw, which is the current version of the lineage graph, but Marquez has all this versioning links behind the scenes in the model. We want to start surfacing that and be able to say, given this run, what did that version of the graph look like? So a lot of effort that's going to be put in there. And stop share.
Thanks, Willie. Great demo. Definitely the Marquez UI has gone a really long way. So
thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Peter. He's put a lot of effort into making that happen. And also just the OpenLineage community. I know I haven't really been part of it that much, but I would like to, maybe every other community meeting we could start demoing some of the new facets that are available in OpenLineage and how they make their way into Marquez as a feature to our end users.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to echo what Harel said about how, how much Marquez has grown just in the last few months, like the last quarter. It's awesome. And I'm putting my marketer's hat on, Willie, while I listen to your demo. And I'm wondering, when we're out in the world and we're talking about Marquez, what are some use cases that the new features unlock for data teams, like the data ops view, for example? What can we say people can do?
I think that's a really great question. And I think a lot of it actually has to do with my time at Astronomer, which also kind of, I think, made that data ops or observability view happen, was when we were building out data observability or Astro Observe on top of OpenLineage. It was really hard to track through Kafka what events were coming in. So a lot of it was, oh, a customer did not get an alert, and we're like, oh, we don't know what order they came in. A lot of the time you had to look at the Kafka topic. So if you're building out an integration, if you're building out observability on top of OpenLineage as at your organization, this is a very strong tool to just show you the order that they came in. How do you sort them? How do you filter them? And be able to see what jobs produced what state at a given time for your customer. And then same thing for the search. So you could think of it very much like, Splunk. It's like, wait, something's not right. How can I get down to the raw event to see what it looked like? And obviously the lineage component, you just want to see dependencies between your jobs and data sets, but that's going to drive compliance. So I think compliance is going to be a big, big part of what we're thinking about with Marquez.
Cool. I'm sure it's also part of what others on this call are thinking about as well for their products. So yeah, the more we can learn from each other, the better.
Mm-hmm. All right, Michael, you could take your hat off, but thanks for putting it on.
Thanks, man.
Any other questions or comments for Willie?
Great to see the progress. I think there are pretty amazing features. One comment is about the authentication, and I think it should be like pluggable feature, but also allow people to like use Marquez without it, really, because I think it's very important for like people looking at Added and OpenLineage to be able to just quickly, run some Spark job or Airflow DAG and see the lineage real time rather than, thinking how to configure authentication or how to provide the password for some generic user, right? So yeah, I think it's very important to have it, but also very important to not have it when needed.
No, and I think that's an important thing to bring up. So we don't want that experience to go away. The one project that actually we want to adopt is Apache Shiro. So that is through Drop Wizard, you can configure your authentication. So how do you want to authenticate the backend through API? Like if you want to bring your own custom way to authenticate. So Shiro is a really great pluggable framework that I've seen used in the past and in other projects. And then when we started researching, this made the most sense to allow no authentication, or depending on what type of authentication you want, they provide a lot of things out of the box. And I'm gonna put my marketing hat on. If anyone wants to help, we're we're not technically hiring, but we will accept pull requests. Okay, that's all I had.
Right. Well, thanks for giving this update, Willie. Very much appreciated. And we'll wait to hear more. Back to our agenda. I am going to pass it off to Pavel in the car. Live.
Yeah, I'm live from the car. So yeah, I would like to share with you some of my recent work with Spark integration, and actually there are 3 things to share, and 2 of them are on this slide, and yeah, perhaps you'll be interested in this or no. And the third one is like, I'm super excited about it. I think it's cool, and I hope you will share my feeling, and if not, yeah, just don't let me know about it. So the first one is like the composite transport, which was introduced by Jakub in 1.23. So it simply allows for Java clients to emit OpenLineage events into multiple backends. And so far it wasn't possible to emit the events in parallel. So you needed to emit the first one and then emit the event to another backend. Now it's doable in parallel. It just that it changes the default behavior, because so far the default behavior was continue on failure set to false, and now it's true. But yeah, I don't think it's a big difference. And for those who would like to use it, it's useful. The second feature added is a transform transport. And yeah, what the transform transport does is actually it allows you to modify the event and pass it to another transport. Yeah. So on the right on this of the slide, you can see the configuration of this transport. So you're able to provide the transformer class, which has to implement the event transformer interface. And basically, given a run event, it has to return a run event, but it can modify it on the fly. Yeah. And then the modified event is passed to another transport that is also configured within the transform transport. So yeah, so the transform transport, in reality, it's not a transport. It's like an abstraction that allows you to modify event at the transport basis, so per transport. Yeah. So why are those 2 useful? And what you can achieve with them? So actually, you can emit different lineage events into different lineage backends, because for some reason you may need it. Yeah. So some useful use cases behind this. So perhaps you would like to emit some custom facets onto some backend. perhaps you'd like to remove some facets when sending the lineage events to another backend, because if you have an alerting use case, you may limit the payload and to keep it small. And yeah, so there are some use cases, and perhaps at some point you'll find that useful. And these are the first two things I was working on. And the third one, Harel, let's move the slide. And yeah, I hope my excitement doesn't break the call. It's not disturbing you. So capturing Iceberg metrics with Spark integration. And that's, yeah, so, Iceberg is really popular. It's like a table API that allows you to access tables through different processing engines, and it's popular in Spark. And actually, Iceberg library provides a customizable metrics reporter, which gets notified whenever you scan some Iceberg table or when you commit to some Iceberg table. So you can use this metrics reporter. You can, get this metrics. But what OpenLineage actually does, it injects a custom implementation of Iceberg's metrics reporter, because it is allowed, because Iceberg allows you to provide your own implementation of the metrics reporter. And this is something what we're doing. And what we do next is we actually correlate the metrics report from Iceberg with the OpenLineage datasets. And this is possible because each Iceberg metric report contains snapshot ID, and within OpenLineage, we associate each dataset with its version, its Iceberg version, which is actually also its snapshot ID. And based on those, we can correlate datasets from OpenLineage events with metrics that we got with the Iceberg metric reporter. Yeah, and as a result, we can include into datasets two facets, like Iceberg commit report output dataset facet or Iceberg scan report input dataset facet. So this feature is already merged to main and will be released hopefully this week. Maciej, am I right? And yeah, we're also going to blog post about it once it's released. And if we go to the last slide, yeah, we will see some demo or at least screenshots. So on the top right, you can see some Spark job that reads from Spark Iceberg table, does some filtering, and writes to another Iceberg table. Actually, this demo is part of the blog post that's going to be published. Yeah, and yeah, while doing this operation, we get Iceberg facets. On the left, you can see Iceberg scan facet, which has like some scan metrics, and those metrics are directly taken from the Iceberg. Yeah, like how many bytes have been read. Yeah, I think it's important because if you look at the lineage graph, you never know if it touches big data sets, is it reading a lot of data? If it writes to a big data set, is it writing a lot of data? And actually, all of those information are within Iceberg metrics. And with this feature, you can, enrich it within OpenLineage events. Yeah. So, for example, for the commit report, you see the amount of records added, the amount of bytes written, and I think it's pretty useful, and I see a lot of use cases that can potentially benefit from those facets. So yeah, hopefully this is going to work and community is going to make use of this information. Do you have any questions?
This is
Amazing
great.
update, Pavel.
Yes.
I wanted to maybe add some more to the transport features. So I think the transport kind of idea and how it's implemented has proven to be really flexible right now. Because right today I got discussion about what can we do if this fails, right? But we don't want to use composite transport to send stuff to multiple different endpoints, right? But what you can do is you can use either transform transport or provide your own transport to have like fallback transport, which would like send the data to some location, right? If it's 502s or something, I don't know, even retry fails, you can send it to like another HTTP transport that can be like different region in your cloud or however your infrastructure looks like, right? So then you have additional safety about getting your data, but you don't have to send it to multiple locations always, right?
Is there any buffering that happens? Is it really just fire and forget, just single events, or is there buffering that's happening in memory on the transport or on a file?
I mean, this is usually in OpenLineage case, there's not that many events, right? You don't want to like start an Airflow task, buffer the event in memory for 15 minutes and then fire two events when it finishes, right? This kind of doesn't give you the runtime information you need. I think in some cases it would make sense to have like more high performance transport. I think in maybe more centralized integrations, right? If you have something that, I don't know, is maybe a database, but there is like really a distributed database and some maybe master nodes that process some requests and forward the actual execution later to different type of workers, right? And you emit those events on this master nodes, and they're like thousands of events per second, and maybe that would make sense there. But in general case, we have to have something simple and reliable, I would say. Performance is not the first thing that's required from the like HTTP transport, I think, unless it's really bad or, you know, I'm not saying that it should be bad, but introducing buffering could hurt the reliability more than help.
Yeah, so definitely good call out. See what more folks do with this extensible framework. Just on that last note, I am personally going to check out the iceberg stats. So definitely interested to see how that works. Questions for Pavel from anyone else? Or for Maciej, or for anyone, really?
More of a call, I'll just say thanks, Pavel. I think this is great. So great work.
Thank you.
I second that.
I third that.
We have consensus. Okay. In that case, if there are no more questions, please check out the blog post when it comes out. Promote it on your socials if you want to. And let's move on to open discussion. Is there anything folks would like to bring up?
Just wanted to flag, I think I've mentioned this on a couple of the previous meetups. At Bering Node, we've been working on a framework to bring together data and information observability and connect it. My background is financial services, working in around financial services, so particularly regulated industries where compliance and audit. And Willie, I was loving the conversations before about job runs and evidencing in the job runs. And we've got our first paper up on Bering Node Live, which is an exec level CDO sort of focused on Chief Data Officer, Chief Data and Analytics Officer. So, and very open for feedback on how it links. We have tried to really emphasize the open standards and OpenLineage, and if we haven't done that enough, happy for feedback. But it's certainly been focused in on trying to be vendor neutral and trying to really focus in on how to bring that together as a integrated framework along with the other capabilities required by a CDO and a regulated industry in particular. So I just wanted to flag that. That's available for download now on Bearing Node, and greatly appreciate this community's feedback on that.
Thank you. Would you mind dropping a link in the chat, and then I can also
Yeah, sure.
I'll add it in the discussion notes.
And also, and only if it's relevant, happy to offer to come back in the new year if that's helpful, and talk about how we're trying to link it to the two topics we've just been discussing, right? Number of job runs, etc., from there all the way up. So happy to have that conversation. Thank you for letting me bring it up.
Yeah, of course. If you're ready to share more right now, you're welcome to.
I've got a deck. I've got a deck that we've been working with some of the CDOs at a number of clients, and we've got a deep build in the capabilities. Is it as presented as cleanly as I would like? No. It's currently built out in a big concept map with people, process, tech, and data operating model specifications. But I would suggest it's probably benefit for me coming back again, only if this or this body's interested. I'd be happy to come back in January or February and talk about that. To that meetups, we'll be reaching out to some of the meetups around data engineering and things, etc. So hopefully we'll be having those conversations in London in Q1. But
Wonderful.
the paper's available for download now.
Right.
And there's as we get through Q1, there's more detail as we get to implementation and like more folks that heads of data governance, head of data management type people. Those papers will come as we get through January and Feb.
Very interested, personally. By the way, you might be aware of this, but I recently heard about something called the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. And they have this initiative called BCBS 239 on risk and effective risk data aggregation and reporting. If you're nodding, you know what I'm talking about.
Or so again, I don't want to monopolize time. I can talk to you for about a whole meeting if that's what you would like. So I've been around that since they launched it, 2013. So are you referring to the recent paper on achievement of compliance? Is that the one you're referring to? That was launched this time last year by the BIS, and they highlighted that of the banks that need to be compliant, not a single one is fully compliant across all the dimensions or principles they talk about in the regulation. If there's actually in our overview deck, we use that as a case study about why governance alone is insufficient. You need observability to bring the compliance levels up, and you can't achieve with the. And this is where and again, there's nothing like a convert. Part of the reason why I've been joining these meetings is because I was running around saying governance was the answer back in 2013 when we were helping clients trying to get compliant. And part of what I've realized is that's not going to work. We need like the two conversations we've just been having. We need to be down at the job level. We need to be down at the individual atomic element. Did it come through? Was it right? Was it quality? Was it timely? Et cetera, et cetera. So again, happy to talk more, but I don't want to monopolize this meeting. I'm happy to come back and use that as a case study if that's helpful.
Please. We would love to have this session in one of the next TSC meetings. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah, well, and again, I'll fit in with the agenda. So, if you want me on in January, you want me on in February, I'll work in with, because what I don't want to do is monopolize, like when there's particular pull requests or service patch releases, etc. I don't want to take that conceptual stuff when we're down in proper code conversations.
All good. I think this community always loves to see how the work that we do actually impacts things in production, especially securing our finances. So
there's the link to the blog post.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to jump into open discussion?
I think I can actually share just one thing that is currently almost merged. Just let me see if I can share the screen, maybe. I'm not sure if you guys can see the screen already or not. Yeah. Awesome, because I can see you right now, but maybe that's how it's supposed to work. Anyway, there's just like a small feature coming up, probably in the Airflow provider, so the Airflow OpenLineage integration, that you'll be able to automatically pass information about parent job when triggering some Spark jobs, for example, in data proc operator. Right now, it's for the first operator I chose, data proc submit job operator. There are already some more PRs waiting. But you won't have to pass any macros manually anymore. You can just turn on the flag in the operator. Basically, just wait. Maybe I'll show it to you. So I haven't planned on showcasing that. So this is just my live demo. But basically, on the data proc operator, you'll be able to just pass through to the OpenLineage inject parent job info, and it will do everything for you. So it's really cool that we're in Airflow. We already have all the OpenLineage information. We have the parent job, we have the transport information, etc. And we know how these different operators for like data proc, AWS, etc. We know how they configure Spark, and we know how they pass the configuration underneath, so we can simply inject some of the OpenLineage there and just take some work from the user and automate it. So I think that's really cool. And this PR is like waiting for merge, and there are a couple more for different data proc operators already. So that's it. Just a quick view on what may be coming to the OpenLineage in Airflow.
Amazing. I do have a quick question, and I'm not sure if it's part of the work, but in Airflow, a lot of the time you could launch a Spark job or something like that. Can you pass the parent run down to the child process or child job, so that way you could do the link between job to job, or you're just injecting the parent name through a macro, like?
So what you want to do is you wanna like tie the Airflow task with the Spark application?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly what's going to happen. So we're passing all the free information that the Spark integration is. So if the Spark integration is enabled, right, because that's on the waiting list, we're not enabling it automatically right now. But if it's already enabled, then it will get all the free information to create the parent run facets. So it should create the link, and you'll be able to show it in the Marquez. So yeah.
Okay. Do you know how amazing that is, or no? That's like incredible. But yeah. And the PR is up for review. I mean, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
Sure, I'll just post the link here. And yeah, if you just look at my PRs, there are other data proc operators waiting. But yeah, so right now we're focusing on passing the parent information. So all needed to create the parent facet. But yeah, we might work some more on this. So maybe we'll be able to to automate some more stuff here in the future.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's it from me.
I know a few examples of folks who've struggled with connecting the Airflow DAG runs with the Spark jobs. So this is awesome. Great stuff. I'm sure Jens is also happy to see that.
Yes, for sure.
Stuff. Thanks for sharing. Hey, anyone else? All right, so Perhaps I'll end this last meeting of the year on a very kind of warm note of thanks everyone for being part of this community, and keep pushing for data lineage everywhere using OpenLineage. It's definitely exciting to be part of this, seeing the growth, seeing all the contributors come in, all the different vendors using the spec. So keep it up. Can't wait to see what we end up doing in 2025. So happy holidays to all. Hope everyone also gets some time off from their jobs or whatever, and does something meaningful for themselves. So indeed, have a good break, and I'll see you all in our next TSC meeting
Thanks.
in the new year.